All right, we're back. Welcome to the unofficial Maple Leaf post-game breakdown. Leafs lose it 4-2 to the Tampa Bay Lightning tonight. And yeah, it's one of those games that I don't know, you just have to try to resist switching the channel, to be honest with you. Some of that I didn't resist actually. I put on the Raptors for a little bit and they ended up losing to the Spurs too. Seems like both Toronto teams just can't get much going right now, and that seems to be how it is, but that's okay. Um, so I guess thoughts on this game. The first thing that comes to mind is it's a tough watch, man, when you're so used to Olympic hockey and that nice little break, and you're watching Team Canada and Team USA and mainly all the teams. You have some of the best players in the world, all together on every roster, and it's a star-studded lineup. The hockey is so good. It's similar to playoff hockey, but almost, even a better tier than that. Just because there's so much talent and it's such a high-paced, high octane game that when you go back to NHL hockey, especially to a team like the Leafs right now that are hurting and that just don't really seem to be able to get any real offensive push going, and they seem a little discombobulated. It's kind of a tough watch, it leaves you wanting more, especially after all that, just tier one Olympic hockey. So I think that's the first thing that needs to be said is that it's a little difficult to go back to your normal NHL schedule and watch your team kind of dick around for 60 minutes. But besides that, it was still nice to have the Leafs back. It's nice to get back into the routine of watching the Leafs on a nice Wednesday night, right? So I can't complain about that. It is what it is. But yeah, poor Austin Matthews wins a gold medal, gets to meet Trump. Whether that's controversial or not, who cares? Let him have his flowers. He won a gold medal. He's got to go back to a team that's just struggling in the standings. There's a lot of controversy around them, and it's just, I think it just makes you think about his future here. He obviously has a lot of friends on multiple American NHL teams or talking in his ear the whole time and giving him shit because he's on a Canadian team and they're not doing well, and it's even worse than that. It's the Leafs. So I don't know. It's just with the Leafs being bad, you really just hope Matthews doesn't really listen to all that noise and ends up staying where he's been playing hockey for the last 10 years of his career. So I don't know. I just hope that he ends up still playing here after this little stretch of bad hockey. Hopefully that's not that long, but yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for him after watching a game like this, but oh well. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't really even take any notes too much tonight. I just kind of wanted to watch it off of feel. I've been kind of wishy-washy on the whole thing of Leafs making the playoffs and making a push, and I wanted them to sell, and then I wanted them to try and make the playoffs or sell a bunch of assets and make the playoffs. And I think that it was good to have this NHL break for a while because it gave us time, especially me time, to sort of look at it objectively and take the fan element out of it and just, uh, you know, honestly know that they really do need to sell. It sucks. They've made the playoffs for 9 straight years, and I would love them to continue that streak. It's the longest streak in the NHL right now for making playoffs, but I think that time has come to an end. That window has closed, and it's objectively and sensibly the right thing to do to just sell. Sell your picks that you can, or sorry, sell your assets to get picks, and just pack this one in. If they came out of the gate here and they won this game and then they got Florida tomorrow and Florida's not very good, they might win that game. Then yeah, maybe I could work myself into it. But I think that me and all the other fans and the other broadcasters and guys like on, TSN Overdrive, Real Kipper and Bourne, JD Bunkus, all those guys who talk about the Leafs. Yeah, I think we all need to realize that it's come to an end and that they do need to sell. They do need to have a little bit of time here, especially the end of this season, where fight the good fight, but sell the assets. And it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be a tough watch for a while, and it is what it is. Fine, but I think that we really need to stay firm on that path of having a rebuild here. If you do it right, it's not going to take that long. If you do it right, look at Boston, for instance. Boston had a very quick turnaround. So I think it's just one of those years where everything just goes against you. You got bad injuries, you got all kinds of stuff going on. It's an Olympic year too. It's just pack it in, pack it in. So I'm going to stay firm from now on the Leafs selling. Whatever happens from here on out, I don't even care if they crush Florida tomorrow. Doesn't matter. We got to sell. Let's just sell. I hope that we start getting some trades going soon because the deadline is coming up fast. So yeah, I hope Brad Treliving has made a lot of pitches in terms of the sell to Keith Pelly, and I hope Keith Pelly is qualified enough to run a hockey team that is kind of searching for some answers right now. But it's a whole nother debate, which we will get into another time. But yeah. So let's go to Austin Matthews real quick. Obviously had a great Olympics. Good for him. These guys are professional athletes. I know there was some worries about how much they partied and, getting back, and it was a hell of a 3-4 day trip from the Olympics and the celebrations, and how is he going to look? And I think these guys do go hard, but at the end of the day, they are professional athletes and they know how far to take it. And if it comes to game time, they're going to be professional and they're going to, be ready to play. And what if they're maybe a little hungover sometimes? So be it. But I thought Matthews was pretty good tonight. I thought he had a good showing. He looked like he was on the ball. I didn't think he was spectacular, but I thought he was. I didn't think he was bad either. I thought he was half decent, kind of the usual Matthews that we see. So no problems with how he looked tonight. Nylander actually looked pretty good too. I'm surprised he had some pretty good jump tonight. I was impressed with his play. The Leafs usually do pretty well against Tampa, but it seems like one of those nights where they didn't get goalied, but Vasilevsky stood on his head for most of it, had a lot of great saves, and then towards the end just seemed to give up. I don't know what that was. Shout out to Jake Gensel making it interesting in there at the end, hitting the post, and then John Tavares coming back and scoring. That was nice to see. It wasn't a whole lot to watch in this game, but at least it made it interesting. It made it kind of a fun ending. And then Matthew Knies there at the end too, with kind of a dump in shot on net that Vasilevsky just didn't seem to care about, and he was like, "Look, we're gonna win this game. I'm letting this go in." Or maybe he didn't see it. Who knows? But it was, 3 goals in 54 seconds. It should have been a 4-0 game that turned into a 4-2 game. So that was at least a little bit of excitement and interesting, result for the end there. If you took the over, good for you. Worked out in the end there. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those games you just kind of watch. You keep one eye on the Raptors or whatever else is going on in the league, right? So I don't know, but yeah. And Matthews played like almost 23 minutes tonight, which was not something that I would actually want to see, to be honest with you. I was hoping that they would play him a little bit less. You got a back-to-back coming up, and obviously you weren't winning this game. So at the end of the game there, when you got, Nylander, Matthews, Knies, and whoever else on the ice for that amount of time, it just seems kind of worthless. Like, we can't keep playing our stars over 20 minutes a night on back-to-backs and times when the game is lost. Like, you're not going to come back in that game, pack it in, put your second and third tier players on the ice and let it go. There's no point in beating them to death over a game that's clearly lost. I mean, yes, it makes it interesting to watch in the end. It's nice to see, but I mean, sometimes you got to be realistic and just pack it in. So that sucks. And very quickly, shout out to John Cooper. So obviously his father passed away tonight. We're all sorry to hear that. I hope you get back into the league soon. Appreciate what you did for Team Canada. I don't know, it was nice seeing it. I always appreciate John Cooper. I think he's a real good hockey guy. One of those real legends in the game. His father was actually a really big Leaf fan, to be honest with you. So that's nice to hear. So condolences to John Cooper for his dad. Yeah, other than that, there's really not too much to take away from this game. Florida tomorrow. Florida's been pretty beat up for the most part. They're still kind of down in the dumps. I would expect the Leafs to come out and win that one tomorrow. Actually, let's go to Anthony Stolarz quick too. I thought he played pretty well. I thought he made some great saves. The Leafs D just do not have what it takes to go up against an offense that is very strong. You got Kucherov over there. You got Braden Point. Some guys that aren't necessarily like marquee names in the league, but they definitely, when put the sum of all the parts together, or however that saying goes, they're a hell of an offense. So I think the Leafs just do not have what it takes. And Anthony Stolarz did his best tonight, but that's just how it goes. Interested to see how Wall is going to play tomorrow. With the amount of time off these guys had for the Olympics, I did think that it was going to be a higher scoring game just because of, time off. You're going to be a little rusty no matter how much you practice. You're not in game form exactly. So I'm curious to see how Wall plays tomorrow. I think he'll be all right, but you never know against Florida. Sometimes the demons come out, so we'll see how that is. But that's pretty much it for tonight. Gonna keep it nice and simple. Try to get back into the rhythm of things. But if you're tuning in, I appreciate it. If you're not, you should be. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow night, and go Leafs, go.